Hello and welcome to a Switzer CEO Masterclass. And I would like to make the point, this is an information video to give you access and information to a company that is listed on the stock market. It's a chance for you to listen to the CEO, to see how the business is going and what are the prospects of the business. And today, I'm talking to the CEO of Silk Logistics, Brendan Boyd. Well, welcome to another Switzer CEO Masterclass. And today, I'm talking to the CEO of Silk Logistics. His name is Brendan Boyd. Thanks for coming on the program, mate.
Thank you, Peter, and thank you for having me.
Well, for people who have never come across the business before, why don't you explain to us what this listed company, Silk Logistics, actually does?
Peter, we are in the logistics business. Quite simply, we pick containers up from the port. We transport them to generally our facilities or alternately customer facilities. Those containers are unloaded or devanned. Product is then stored and held, and then we pick to order for our customers and deliver that to the last mile of consumption. Very much a domestic focus, but think of all the ports here in Australia. We are clearing those ports into our warehouses and then delivering that product out to a consumption point.
Brendan, in the old days, did a lot of the businesses that you cater with actually have their own warehousing facilities and the stuff was basically on site?
Yeah, look, absolutely. And there's still a large proportion of FMCG type operations, Peter, that still have in-house operations, but certainly outsourcing in our industry has been a theme for 10, 15, 20 years. I think what the pandemic has really opened people's eyes up to is, are there opportunities to do that more effectively and more efficiently? And with a business like Silk, and whilst I described to you our physical execution, where we then really add value to that is our data and analytic overlay to that physical supply chain. And I think particularly in the last 2 years, as customers have faced, dare I say it, those challenges in supply, the importance of data, the importance of analytics, and the importance of execution and confidence is really, again, I think, opening the conversations up around outsourcing versus insourcing.
Also, the coronavirus period has obviously escalated online business, particularly consumers who probably never even thought about buying online, in a sense were compelled to, and probably found it quite satisfying. Has that helped your business, the fact that there is more online purchasing?
Peter, our business historically has been what I call traditional logistics, very much in the B2B environment. Certainly over the last 2 years, a number of our larger retail customers, and we talked previously offline just about Barbecues Galore as a really good example, traditional bricks and mortar, and have really had to morph their business in response to what's happened with COVID. And they're now seeing very significant uptick in online sales. And I think if you reflect on Australia, we've typically been slow on the uptake in this online consumption, but certainly the pandemic has really escalated that. And in response, we've recently, you may have seen in the last week, completed an acquisition in that B2C fulfillment space. And that's really recognising the fact that we need to ramp up our capability in that space.
And that, I presume, is the 101 warehousing purchase.
Yeah, absolutely, yeah.
What do they do, mate?
Look, if you think about our environment, we move full pallets typically, so large volumes of product into B2B environments. In their environment, they are typically picking large volumes of single items or small volumes of items and distributing that to many points, which is quite different to the way we do it. They're based here in Melbourne. They've got some very strong customers, typically US parented customers in retail and toys and all sorts of retail product. And they have really developed over the last couple of years a really strong presence in that online fulfillment. So we think it's a nice fit to where we see the business going.
And are they doing the sort of stuff, like I can remember when Emma and Tom started their business, they needed to create a distribution system. So they actually had trucks on the road with Emma and Tom's. They still do, I know. But lots of businesses would have found it very hard to actually do that distribution themselves. There's where 101 Warehousing effectively helps smaller operations, as well as big, do that kind of distribution.
Yeah, look, they do. I think one of the aspects that we see upside is we have a very strong delivery capability within Silk, and one of the synergies we see between the two businesses is enhancing that delivery capability for 101 through our established network. So we think that's a really nice synergy as part of the acquisition.
Okay, what do you think differentiates Silk Logistics from its rivals?
Yeah, look, I talked about that physical execution. So scale and geographic coverage is important for particularly larger customers making those decisions. But I talked about earlier, Peter, that perfect storm of events that we've gone through over the last 2 years, with pandemics and lockdowns and strikes on ports and shipping delays, etc. What that has really driven and enhanced for us is our particular competitive advantage, which is not only do we have that physical network, but we then provide the data and analytics that gives our customers absolute confidence in our service execution. Quite simply, we get the job done and we prove the fact that we've done the job.
I know this year a lot of the pundits are saying that it's going to be an M&A year, mergers and acquisitions. Do you have any strategy going forward?
Yeah, look, absolutely. When we released our prospectus last year, we had a modest aspiration to double our business over the next 3 to 5 years. We completed last year with about 323 million of revenue. I've challenged the team here, and we're really targeting our aspiration more around what we've colloquially termed a 1-on-1, which is $1 billion revenue, $1 billion market cap, and I'm challenging the team on that. Mergers and acquisitions will be a key part of that growth. We've still got some gaps in our geographic coverage, but equally we see some further expansion in that B2C capability to really ramp up our position in that market. So organic growth will be critical as always, but certainly some mergers and acquisitions, and we're seeking something quite transformational in sort of 2 to 3 years. Yeah,
for people who are watching this and don't know much about the company, when did you list, Brendan?
We listed in July last year.
Yeah. I've noticed that the share price has been stuck around, best 250, 214 now. You've stuck in a zone, and it has been during a period where you'd have to say, for a company like yours, the supply chain issues have been quite considerable. As the supply chain problems become less of a challenge, do you think that's going to create or turn a headwind into a tailwind going forward?
I think there's a couple of aspects, Peter. I think we're a relatively small market cap business, obviously. We're new to the market, and I think there's still an element of the unknown about Silk. We completed our full year results that met the mark, and I think as we get a bit of a run rate with acquisitions, a strong half year performance, and some outlook that's quite positive in terms of that mergers and acquisitions and continued growth, I think people will get confidence in the stock. To your point, pre-Christmas there was lots of noise. Christmas was going to be held up because the ports were on strike and Patrick's weren't working, and every time an element of that press came out, I think there was a degree of nervousness about Silk because they just don't know our business. When I talk to the half year results on the 24th of February, I'll be reinforcing the message that our business model is actually really resilient. We execute well for our customers, and we continue to outstrip the market in terms of our growth at an organic level. So I think confidence will grow, and hopefully with a bit of liquidity in the stock, we might see that share price probably where it deserves to be rather than where it is.
Okay, well, that's a fair way of putting it. Brendan, thanks for joining us on the program. Good luck. Look forward to your show and tell on February 24.
Look forward to it. Thanks, Peter, and appreciate you having me on the show.
And that was Brendan Boyd, the CEO of Silk Logistics. And let me remind you, this is an information video for your benefit to see what's going on in a listed company. Thanks for joining us.